What is up, guys? It is another beautiful day here in Georgia, but I'm gonna go ahead and get right to it. I'm gonna let you guys know my 5 tips. 5, not 2, 5 tips to stay alive on a motorcycle. Alright guys, I'm gonna start off with this. If you do like this video, make sure you hit that like button. It'll help me out a lot more than you think, just to get this video out there and get it exposed to everybody. But first things first, tip number 1 is to restrict your nighttime riding. You have limited sight distance, so all you can see is what's in front of you. You can't see beyond. Like right now, I can see out in this field. I can see anything going on around me to the side here. I can see way out, maybe close to 100 yards in front of me, what's gonna happen then. So it gives you, just riding in the daytime will give you a endless amount of preparation to any event that might occur. All right, so number 2 is going to be practice handling your bike to avoid road hazards that you may end up getting into. So basically just practice, like the normal thing. Whenever you first started riding, you had to practice to get better. You had to practice to maneuver. Just keep on, keep on grinding away and getting better at handling your bike. That way you can, avoid things that might occur. The biggest thing would be your braking, because for bikes that don't have ABS, it's relied on you in order to do the safest and most amount of braking that you can. So you're going to end up using more of your front brake if you're on a sport bike. Balancing that brake pull to prevent the front wheel from locking up and getting you into a bad situation is going to help you out a ton. So if car pulls out in front of you and you had to brake hard, you're able to get the bike slowed down as much as possible, hopefully avoid the accident, or just limit the amount of damage that might occur, rather than just yanking on that front brake, panicking, and just going down and just making things a lot worse for you. And just side to side handling the bike, making sure you know how to countersteer correctly. Just there's a whole list of things that you can do to help yourself out and prevent yourself from having an accident, avoiding these hazards that might occur, or just limiting the amount of damage to yourself and to others by handling your bike pretty well. All right, number 3 is to make sure you're wearing your gear, man. It's like one of the most simple things that you can do is to make sure you have a helmet, even for those states that don't even require you to have a helmet. I promise, man, like even if you don't have, any gloves, any boots, any pants, you're wearing shorts, flip-flops, no shirt. If you go down, your skin is not saved, but if you hit something with your head, you don't have a helmet on, it's just bad times, man. For example, you're going 35 miles an hour. I'm going a little bit less than that right now. 35 miles an hour. If I were to go down and my head hit one of these like cement guards for the road, then I would be dead. Or just maybe a vegetable, and not have any brain function. Like that's one of the most important things that you can do is to wear a helmet. You may have broken bones or whatever, but you could still be alive by wearing that helmet and protecting your noggin. But I mean, myself, I always preach, get as much gear as you have. So, put as much as you can afford on. If you can afford a really nice bike, you can afford really good gear, you know what I'm saying? If you're gonna sacrifice, not protecting yourself to get that nice bike, maybe you should look at something that's a little bit less, a little bit less in the price range. That way you can still be safe and still have a shit ton of fun. Eventually you can get that bike that you want, as long as you just play it safe and do the right thing is what I always say. But like right now, I've got a textile jacket on. I've got a Shoei DOT approved helmet. It's not Snell approved, just because it has a drop down visor. Snell doesn't allow you to have that, but I've got these full gauntlet leather gloves, and this stuff isn't very expensive either. My jacket is a Joe Rocket jacket. It's maybe like $130. The gloves are an off-brand glove. They've held up for well over a year now, so I mean they've stood the test of time. My gloves, for example, were like $40, so it's not that big of a deal. My boots were only $110, and these, they go all the way up, like halfway up my shin. They have a lot of ankle protection. They have plastic sliders on the side, you know, leather boots, just a lot of protection in general. And then the one thing I lack is the appropriate like riding pants. But I've always wore jeans and some type of pants, so I've always had something to cover my skin. I've never, you know, ridden with shorts or anything like that, except for one time when I had my first bike, but that's another story. All right, guys. Number 4 is to be aware of your surroundings and obey traffic laws. Each one of these things are very important, but I mean, one of the most basic things that could, you know, potentially save your life out here is to make sure you're aware of what's going on around you. You can't just be, you know, riding on the bike, doing whatever. I mean, you can, but there's a chance that, you know, something's going to come out. You're not going to be prepared for it. So the biggest thing about riding and you know, staying riding, being safe, is preparation. I mean, that's the key part of most of anything if you want to do it correctly. Having appropriate mirrors on your bike. This one has a bar and mirror. They're pretty old, a little bit rusty, but you know, the mirror, it functions appropriately. Keeping like the OEM mirrors that come on these bikes, the ones with fairings, they may not look good, but you know, if you're out here street riding, you got to use them. So here in Georgia, the state law says that you have to have at least one mirror. I chose to put it on the left side. I used to have both of them. I had some issues with this bar end though, so I ended up taking it off. You know, just knowing what's going on behind you, so that way you can avoid anything that might happen. You know, knowing what's going on around you, to the side, your blind spot. This truck's coming up next to me. I'm looking at his front wheel to make sure he's not going to veer into my lane. You know, just these little aspects that are going to keep you safe and allow you to have a greater reaction time if something were to occur. And may I remind you, all these tips are pretty much no-brainers. I mean, there could be some things that you don't know, and that's wonderful that I'm able to bring it up to you guys if you don't know. But most of these should be things that you should assume shouldn't be right. You know, you shouldn't do. And number 5, it leads me up to my last point, would be to make sure. Here, let me get through this intersection real quick. Make sure to stay alcohol and drug free. So according to NHTSA, they're the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. According to their studies, a lot of the deaths that occur with these motorcycles happen to people who have been drinking. But yeah, I mean, they consume a lot of alcohol. They go out to a bar, you know, have fun, consume some alcohol, go home, and on the way home, they end up, you know, even if it's, say, even if the accident isn't necessarily their fault, maybe they didn't go down because of their operation, they may have not been aware of what was happening around them, causing them to get themselves into an accident. And unfortunately, here in Georgia, even if you get in an accident and it's not your fault, if you're under the influence, you know, you're getting it's against the law. So you're going to get some type of punishment within the situation that occurred. But according to NHTSA, I mean, they're saying like 20% of all deaths for these motorcycle accidents happen while the operator was under the influence of either some type of drugs or alcohol. So, you know, just stay away. You know, if you're gonna, you know, go out, have a good time, you know, either have some friends who don't drink who can take you home, or call an Uber. You know, there's in these days and ages that we live in today, there's a lot of things that we have access to prevent these things from happening. So definitely take advantage of anything that you have access to get home safely, and most importantly, don't put anyone else's life in danger. Because like, I'm a big believer in doing what you want. You know, if it's not going to hurt anybody else, do what the hell you want, as long as it doesn't affect me or anybody else around me. But say if you're going out here being reckless, not obeying these traffic laws, I get spirited riding, it's freaking awesome, but there's a place for that. Like, even on the road, there is a safe way to have spirited riding on the road. It's definitely not going to be in any kind of environment that's around me right now. You know, there's traffic going here and there, people pulling out. And if you're on a backcountry road, there's no one around you. Yeah, I mean, have a little fun. don't be excessive, but you know, have fun while you're out there. You know, my biggest thing is to not put anybody else's life in danger. You know, these other people, including other motorcyclists, go out here wanting to do everything right, wanting to get back home safely and have, you know, a fantastic time participating in the hobby that they chose, just to find out that, you know, another guy may be, you know, a little drunk or just, you know, acting recklessly, and it ends up taking them out and injuring them or even killing them. So you know, my biggest thing is just to be safe out there, man. Have fun, have a shit ton of fucking fun, guys, but just be safe. You know, just you know, be conscious of what you're doing, be conscious of the risks that are involved, you know, and just be safe out there. 5,172 deaths occurred in 2017 to people who were operating a motorcycle. And this doesn't mean just sport bikes or cruisers. This is everything, you know, every motorcycle incident. So I just want to remind you guys, man, just to be safe out there. You know, have fun, you know, do what you wanted to do with that motorcycle. Just make sure that you come home safely, and make sure that everyone around you is going to come back home safely. Just take that responsibility. Just take that responsibility to yourself, to know that, you know, you're gonna have fun at what you're doing, but you're gonna make sure that the guys around you, all these people around you, are gonna get home safe too. But yeah, guys, so on that note, you know, I wanted to sign off. So if you like this video, man, hit that like button. It helps me out so much. You know, get down in the comments. Tell me what you think about this video. What you think I could improve on, personally, and you know, just give me some support, guys. Like, share the video, like it. You know, show your friends. Like, if you like the stuff that I'm doing here, man, just, you know, help me out. Help me get a little bit of exposure. I'd really appreciate it. But I hope that you guys have a fantastic day, and I will see you in the next one. Oh, fuck. Oh, by the way, guys, I'm pretty fucking sick. I was holding in that cough for so fucking long. It's pretty hot, to be honest, man. It's almost October, and it's this hot, dude. It's like 95. I am almost done with my vacation from work. I gotta go back just a couple of days. That really sucks. Just got back from a nice vacation at the beach. Got sick at the beach. Man, it was a great time, though.